"How's it going with the space lady?" Tai asked playfully. "Amazing," Jae-hyun replied. "She's brilliant. We're actually collaborating on research now." "Sounds serious," Ta said. "When do you get to meet her in person?" "She's on Europa, remember? But she mentioned she might be coming back to Earth in a few months." "Lucky you," Ta said. "Just be careful. People aren't always who they seem online." Jae-hyun laughed. "She's a scientist with published research. I'm not worried." After hanging up, Jae-hyun went back to work, excited to share his findings with Nari. For the first time in years, he felt truly connected to someone. He couldn't wait to see where this relationship would lead. Jae-hyun entered the security office feeling confused. Director Kim had sent him an urgent message to come immediately. He had been in the middle of reviewing more data from Nari about the Europa microbes. "Please sit down," Director Kim said, her face serious. She pushed a tablet across the desk. "Can you explain these access logs?" Jae-hyun looked at the screen. It showed his security credentials being used to access restricted xenobiology databases at odd hours. "I've been helping a colleague on Europa base with research," he explained. "She's working on a breakthrough in microbial communication." Director Kim frowned. "That's the problem, Jae-hyun. I checked with Europa Base Command this morning. They have no molecular biologist named Nari working there. In fact, they're not conducting any neural mapping projects at all right now." Jae-hyun felt his stomach drop. There must be some mistake. "I've been talking to her for weeks." "Someone has been talking to you," Director Kim corrected. "And they've been using you to access classified information. This is a serious security breach." Jae-hyun left the office in a daze. How could Nari not exist? Their conversations had been so real, so deep. He went straight home and began digging. He checked Europa Base's public staff directory. No Nari. He cross-referenced her published papers that she had mentioned. They existed, but were written by different authors. The photos she had shared of her lab were actually stock images of Europa Base available online. That night, during their scheduled video call, Jae-hyun paid closer attention. Nari appeared on screen as usual, slightly blurry due to the poor connection. But now he noticed how her movements sometimes didn't match her words. Was he talking to a digital creation? "Tell me more about the protein synthesis equipment in your lab," he asked casually. Nari described a setup that would be impossible in Europa's gravity conditions. No real scientist stationed there would make such a mistake. "That's fascinating," he said, hiding his growing suspicion. "By the way, I'm actually coming to a conference near Europa Base next month. Maybe we could meet in person." There was a slight pause before Nari answered. "I'd love that, but I'll be on Earth then for a research exchange." Bad timing. Too convenient, Jae-hyun thought. After the call ended, he set up a trace program to track where the communications were really coming from. He'd need to wait for their next conversation to run it. The next day, his colleague Ta noticed something was wrong. "You look terrible," Ta said. "Vol in space romance." Jae-hyun told him about Director Kim's revelation and his own investigation. "I feel like such a fool," Jae-hyun said. "I shared classified research with whoever this is." "Don't be too hard on yourself," Tai replied. "This sounds professional. They knew exactly which buttons to push with you." "But why target me?" Jae-hyun wondered. "Your access level. Your specific knowledge. Think about it. What have they been most interested in?" Jae-hyun thought back through their conversations. "My work on cross-species neural communication, especially the new translation algorithms." Tai's eyes widened. "The same technology that won the Institute the government contract over Neocorp last month." Something clicked in Jae-hyun's mind. Neocorp had been desperate to develop alien communication technology first. They had lost millions when Jae-hyun's team got the contract instead. That night, when Nari called, Jae-hyun ran his trace program while pretending everything was normal. The results confirmed his suspicion. The call wasn't coming from Europa at all. It originated from an address in Seoul, right where NeoCorp's main office was located. I've been thinking about your communication problem, Jae-hyun said carefully. I think I have a solution in my old research notes. I'll send them tomorrow. That would be wonderful, Nari said, her face lighting up with interest. After they disconnected, Jae-hyun sat in the dark of his apartment. He had a decision to make. He could report everything to security, but that wouldn't answer the questions burning inside him. Who was really behind Nari? How deep did this deception go? Instead, he prepared a special file to send, one that contained dummy data with a hidden tracking program. When opened, it would reveal exactly who was accessing it. The next morning, the program activated. The file had been opened by someone at NeoCorp, as he suspected. But the identity of the user surprised him. According to the employee database he accessed, the person was named Do-hyun Lee, a mid-level engineer. Jae-hyun stared at the photo of the young man who had been pretending to be Nari all this time. Why would a company like NeoCorp trust such an important espionage operation to someone so junior? Something didn't add up. There had to be more to the story. Jae-hyun made his decision. During their next video call, he would confront Nari directly. No more games. It was time for the truth. Jae-hyun prepared carefully for his next video call with Nari. He set up multiple recording devices and made sure his tracking programs were running. His heart beat quickly as he waited for the connection. Part of him still hoped there was a simple explanation, but he knew better. The call connected, and Nari's familiar face appeared on screen, smiling warmly at him. "I've missed our talks," she said. "Did you have a chance to look at the data I sent?" "I did," Jae-hyun replied calmly. "But before we discuss that, I wanted to ask you something. How's the weather in Seoul today?" There was a moment of silence. Nari's image froze slightly. "I'm on Europa base, remember. We're in a climate-controlled station." Jae-hyun leaned forward. "That's interesting, because my tracking program shows this call is coming from downtown Seoul. From a NeoCorp building, to be exact." The image of Nari flickered when it stabilized. Her expression had changed to concern. "There must be some mistake with your tracking," she said quickly. "Our signal routes through multiple relay stations." "No mistake," Jae-hyun said. "I know you're not Nari. You're not a woman. You're not on Europa. Your name is Do-hyun Lee, and you work for NeoCorp." The screen went black for several seconds. When the video returned, the face of Nari was gone. Instead, a young man with tired eyes looked back at him. He appeared to be in his late 20s, sitting in what looked like a small office. "How did you find out?" Do-hyun asked quietly. "Europa Base has no record of any scientist named Nari, and you made several technical mistakes that no real biologist would make." Jae-hyun kept his voice steady despite his anger. "What I don't understand is why. What does NeoCorp want with my research?" Do-hyun looked down, shame clear on his face. "It's not what you think." He glanced nervously over his shoulder, as if checking if anyone was listening. "I didn't have a choice." "Everyone has a choice," Jae-hyun said coldly. "Not when they have your sister," Do-hyun replied, his voice breaking. 3 months ago, I discovered something I wasn't supposed to see at NeoCorp, an actual alien signal they had intercepted and were keeping secret." Jae-hyun's anger was momentarily replaced by surprise. "What kind of signal?" "A communication attempt. The real thing. NeoCorp wants to develop private technology to control first contact. Anyone who found out and wouldn't help them." Do-hyun swallowed hard. "They took my sister Minji to ensure I cooperated. Said she was on a special research assignment off-planet. If I don't do what they ask, I'll never see her again." Jae-hyun wanted to believe this was just another lie, but the fear in Do-hyun's eyes seemed genuine. "Why target me specifically?" Jae-hyun asked. "The signal had patterns that matched your research. It seemed to be looking for specific types of human brain activity. When analyzed, your work was the closest match to what the signal was seeking. They need your translation algorithms to fully understand it. Jae-hyun sat back, stunned. You're telling me that aliens are trying to contact Earth, and they somehow want me. Not you personally, but minds that think like yours. The signal contains what we believe are emotional patterns seeking connection. Your work on empathy as a communication tool across species is exactly what we needed. We? Jae-hyun raised an eyebrow. I mean they, Do-hyun corrected quickly. Neocorp. If this is true, why keep it secret? This would be the most important discovery in human history. Money, power, control. Do-hyun sighed. The first company to establish alien communication will be worth trillions. Neocorp doesn't want to share. And your sister, where is she really? A research station on Titan. They call it an opportunity, but she's not allowed to communicate with anyone. Please, Do-hyun leaned closer to the camera. I know I deceived you, and I'm sorry. But this is bigger than both of us. Jae-hyun studied the man's face, looking for signs of deception. Prove it. Show me this signal you claim exists. Do-hyun hesitated, then started typing. I'm sending you a small fragment. It's highly encrypted. If they catch me doing this. Jae-hyun's tablet beeped with an incoming file. He opened it and began analyzing the data while keeping his eyes on Do-hyun. The patterns were unlike anything he had seen before, complex, rhythmic, with embedded mathematical sequences that couldn't be natural or random. This could be faked, Jae-hyun said, but his voice lacked conviction. The data aligned perfectly with theoretical models of non-human communication. It's real, Do-hyun insisted, and your research is the key to understanding it. Will you help me? Not Neocorp. Me. Help me save my sister and make sure this discovery belongs to all humanity, not just one corporation. Jae-hyun studied Do-hyun's face, the face that had lied to him for weeks. Yet something about this felt true. And if there really was an alien signal seeking contact. I need time to verify this, Jae-hyun finally said. And if I help you, we do this my way. Jae-hyun paced around his apartment, unable to sleep. It had been 3 days since his confrontation with Do-hyun. 3 days of analyzing the signal fragment, comparing it to every known pattern in the xenobiology database. The conclusion was unavoidable. This was not human-made. The signal contained structures that matched his theoretical models of non-human consciousness. His secure comm unit beeped. It was Director Kim. Have you made progress? She asked when he answered. After the confrontation, Jae-hyun had taken a risk and brought everything to Director Kim. To his relief, she believed him and agreed to help. The signal is genuine, Jae-hyun confirmed. And I verified Do-hyun's story about his sister. Min-ji Lee was transferred to Titan Research Station 3 months ago. No external communication since then. Neocorp is playing a dangerous game, Director Kim said. We need to move carefully. Our plan is ready when you are. The next day, Jae-hyun reconnected with Do-hyun through a secure channel provided by the Institute's security team. I believe you, Jae-hyun said without preamble. And I want to help. But we need to be smart about this. Do-hyun's relief was visible. Thank you. I didn't know who else to turn to. First, tell me everything about Neocorp's security, where they keep the full signal data, who has access, and what they know about your sister's exact location. As Do-hyun shared details, Jae-hyun took careful notes. The plan they developed was risky, but could work. They would need to access Neocorp's main server while simultaneously arranging for Min-ji's extraction from Titan. There's something else you should know, Do-hyun said hesitantly. The signal, it's getting stronger and more specific. 2 days ago, it began transmitting what looks like DNA sequencing data. Human DNA? Jae-hyun asked, surprised. Yes, they're trying to understand us at the most basic level. And they seem especially interested in brain chemistry related to empathy and trust. The implications were staggering, an alien intelligence studying human biology, possibly preparing for contact. 1 week later, their plan was in motion. Director Kim had secured cooperation from global security forces by presenting evidence of Neocorp's illegal detention of Minji. Meanwhile, Jae-hyun worked with Do-hyun to create a backdoor into Neocorp's systems. Security cameras are looped. Do-hyun whispered through their comm link as he made his way through the dark corridors of Neocorp's research wing. You should have access now. From the safety of the Institute, Jae-hyun began downloading the complete signal data. What he saw amazed him. The communication was far more complex than the fragments suggested. A rich tapestry of mathematical concepts, biological information, and what appeared to be emotional patterns. They're not just sending information, Jae-hyun realized. They're trying to establish emotional connection first. They'd want us to feel safe with them. Do-hyun reached the main server room and inserted the device Jae-hyun had given him. Download at 60%, he reported. No alarms yet. Just as they were about to complete the download, Do-hyun's comm went silent. Do-hyun? Do-hyun, respond. Jae-hyun called urgently. After a tense minute, the comm crackled back to life. Sorry, Do-hyun said, his voice shaking. Security patrol passed by. They didn't see me. The extraction team has reached Titan, Jae-hyun informed him. They've located Minji. She's safe. Do-hyun's relieved sob came through the comm. Thank you. With the data secured and Minji rescued, they met at a safe house provided by Director Kim. Minji was thin and pale but otherwise unharmed. When she saw her brother, she ran into his arms, both of them crying. Neocorp will know it was us, Do-hyun said later as they reviewed the complete signal data. Let them, Director Kim replied. We have evidence of their illegal activities, and this signal belongs to humanity, not one corporation. Jae-hyun focused on the translation work. With the complete data set, patterns became clearer. The aliens seem to be a collective intelligence, he explained. They communicate through shared emotional states rather than individual thoughts. They've been watching us for centuries. Why contact us now? Minji asked. She had joined their research, her expertise in quantum communication proving valuable. I think they were waiting for the right people, Jae-hyun said slowly. The signal specifically sought out minds that understand connection across differences. Not just scientists, but people who value empathy as a tool for communication. Do-hyun looked thoughtful. When I found the signal, I was working on translation systems for human emotional states. Maybe that's why I could see what others missed. As they worked through the night, the pieces came together. The aliens weren't just seeking any humans. They were looking for those who could bridge divides, who understood that communication was about connection, not just information. We need to respond, Jae-hyun said finally. But how do we transmit a message that conveys who we are as a species? Minji smiled. Maybe we already have. Your research on empathy as a universal language. My work on quantum entanglement communication. Do-hyun's emotional translation systems. Together, we might be exactly what they've been looking for. The unlikely alliance of three people brought together by deception now stood at the threshold of humanity's greatest discovery. The massive alien spacecraft hovered silently above the Pacific Ocean, its metallic surface gleaming under the moonlight. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood on the research vessel's deck, her heart racing as she watched the impossible sight before her. The international scientific team had been tracking the object for weeks, but nothing could have prepared them for this moment. Captain James Harper gripped the ship's railing, his weathered hands trembling slightly. Decades of naval experience hadn't equipped him for first contact with an extraterrestrial civilization. The ship's communication systems crackled with nervous energy, radio operators frantically trying to establish any form of contact. Suddenly, a beam of soft blue light emerged from the spacecraft's base, scanning the research vessel with precise, methodical movements. The light seemed almost intelligent, moving with a deliberate pattern that suggested more than random scanning. Scientists scrambled to their equipment, recording every microscopic detail. Dr. Rodriguez noticed something strange. The light wasn't just scanning, it was communicating. Mathematical patterns began to emerge, complex sequences that hinted at a language beyond human understanding. She realized they were witnessing something extraordinary, an attempt at communication. The spacecraft was massive, easily the size of 10 football fields, yet it moved with an impossible grace. Its surface rippled like liquid metal, changing textures and colors in ways that defied known physics. No visible engines, no traditional propulsion systems, just pure, elegant movement. Military jets buzzed overhead, their pilots torn between curiosity and fear. Governments around the world were scrambling to respond, diplomatic channels lighting up with urgent messages. But here, on this single research vessel, humanity's first real encounter was happening. A smaller probe detached from the main spacecraft, descending toward the ship with incredible precision. It was roughly the size of a small car, spherical and completely smooth. No windows, no apparent openings, just a perfect metallic globe that seemed to absorb and reflect light in impossible ways. The probe stopped exactly 30 meters above the ship's deck. Complete silence fell. Even the ocean seemed to hold its breath. Captain Harper whispered, "Nobody move." Dr. Rodriguez held her scientific instruments, her hands steady despite the adrenaline surging through her body. Years of training had prepared her for this moment, though no training could truly prepare anyone for first contact. The probe began to pulse with a soft, rhythmic light. Blue, then green, then a color that seemed to exist between colors humans could normally perceive. Mathematical sequences continued to broadcast, growing more complex with each passing moment. What did they want? Communication. Study. Something humans couldn't even comprehend. Military commanders watched satellite feeds with increasing tension. Diplomats prepared statements. Scientists around the world were glued to their screens, watching this historic moment unfold. Dr. Rodriguez realized they were being invited, not threatened, not attacked, invited to understand something beyond human experience. The probe's light intensified, creating holographic-like projections around the ship. Complex geometric shapes, intricate mathematical models, glimpses of star systems, and mathematical concepts that seemed to dance and breathe with their own living energy. This was more than technology. This was a message, a bridge between two civilizations separated by unimaginable distances. Captain Harper looked at Dr. Rodriguez. No words were needed. They both understood they were witnessing something that would change human history forever. The first contact was happening. Not with violence, not with grand declarations, but with mathematics, with light, with a silent invitation to understand something greater than themselves. And humanity's response would define everything that came next.